Minimalism comes in two forms. The first form of minimalism is minimalism by choice. Every minimalist should fall into this category. Every minimalist should do it because they choose to do it, because they believe and they know that it will make their life better. The second form of minimalism is minimalism by force. No minimalist should be a minimalist by force. To illustrate my point, I need to take you back to December 2022. A young 22-year-old Jordan had sold everything except for his soul. That's what I used to tell everybody. I sold everything except for my soul. And the reason why I had done this was because I had found myself in a very difficult financial situation. I was living in an apartment that I could barely afford. I had just gotten out of a very bad lease deal where I had to spend $5,000 to get out of the lease deal, which was basically all of my savings. In other words, I was broke. Okay, to put it succinctly, I was broke. I had maybe $1,000 to my name, and I sold everything except for my soul in order to make up for it. Now, at the time, the feeling of having gotten rid of everything was a relief. It was such a great relief, and I think that every minimalist can relate when I say that. When you first get rid of everything that you own, the feeling of not having to deal with the mental clutter of your surroundings is liberating. Minimalism should be about freedom. But in December 2022, I was not free. I wasn't free, and the reason why I wasn't free is because I was broke. Okay, a lot of people who claim to be minimalists are actually just broke. And nobody should be a minimalist by force. You shouldn't be a minimalist just because of your financial circumstances. The biggest mistake that I made was not in becoming a minimalist. The biggest mistake that I made was in believing that I didn't have a choice. And this goes beyond just minimalism in and of itself. I believed at that time that I was not in control of my life, that I wasn't in control of my fate, of my destiny, that my decisions didn't determine the outcome of my life. And because of that, I yielded all of the power and the freedom that I had to the outside world. Does that sound like freedom or liberation to you? Because when I look back on it, that does not resonate with me whatsoever. Now, I'm not saying that you need to become rich or financially free. All I'm saying is you shouldn't delude yourself into being a minimalist by way of your circumstances. You shouldn't use minimalism to justify your bad decisions. I made a lot of bad decisions throughout 2021 and 2022 that put me in a position where I no longer had the freedom to make the choice for myself. And when I reflect on that, I can now see that I put myself in that situation. Therefore, I could get myself out. Once I found that out, I was able to get myself out of that situation and become a minimalist by choice, because I am still a minimalist right now. Okay, I went from having $27,000 in debt a year ago. As a matter of fact, today is March 13th as I'm filming this. 1 year ago today, I was just getting back to Texas. I had driven my car, which I had been living in for 3 months, by the way, in the name of minimalism. I had just driven my car from Los Angeles, California to Dallas, Texas, more specifically Lewisville, Texas, back to my parents' house because I couldn't afford to live in my car anymore. I had $27,000 in debt. Imagine going from living in a relatively luxurious apartment, driving a brand new BMW, wearing nice clothes, and having everybody give you this external validation, to not being able to afford to live in your car anymore. Think about that for a second. Put yourself in my shoes. Maybe some of you have been through this before. That is not a position that anyone should ever be in. I made decisions that brought me to that position. At the time, I was too myopic. I was too short-sighted to see this and understand this. But now I understand that my choices determine my reality. Bearing that in mind, how do you figure out what type of minimalist you are? How do you know if you're a minimalist by choice or a minimalist by force? Well, the answer is pretty simple, and it's not what you think. You probably think that I'm going to say your bank account, but that is not true. Because, like I said, you don't need to be rich to be free. However, the best way to determine which type of minimalist you are is by your self-care habits. Now, what do I mean by your self-care habits? Basically, if you're a minimalist by choice, you take care of yourself. You still take care of yourself because you have the choice to do so. When you're a minimalist by force, when you can't afford to not be a minimalist, you stop taking care of yourself because in your mind, it's no longer a priority. This is the biggest mistake that minimalists make, including myself, around that time. In those 3 months when I was living in my car, I pretty much let myself go. Now, when I say I let myself go, I'm speaking in relative terms here. I was still going to the gym 3 times a week. I was still taking care of my skin. I was still doing a lot of the general things. But in terms of my mindset and in terms of my general habits, my smaller habits, things like cutting my hair or maybe the clothes that I would wear, things of that nature, I was no longer as diligent in those aspects of my life. And because of that, I fell deeper and deeper into that void, deeper into that realm of despair and that lack of control. The easiest way to reverse this and start becoming a minimalist by choice, in other words, to take control of your life, is to start taking care of yourself. Because when you take care of yourself, you are reclaiming control of your life. And contrary to popular belief, self-care does not have to introduce more clutter into your life. A great example of this is Tiege Hanley, the sponsor of today's video. Tiege Hanley helps men start and maintain a skincare routine by simplifying the entire process. They include all of the products you need and none of the products you don't need. Honestly, it's the best skincare system for minimalistic men like you and me. I recommend you start with their level 1 system, which comes with all of the basics: a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20, and a PM moisturizer. And to keep things as simple as possible, they provide this instruction card in every box that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. It definitely comes in clutch. Tiege Hanley is perfect for anyone who prioritizes self-care while staying true to the minimalist lifestyle. And it's especially useful for maintaining healthy skin while conquering countries and continents. But you don't just have to take my word for it, because they have over 7,000 5-star reviews from satisfied customers all around the globe. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tiege Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, access to exclusive monthly deals, the ability to pause or cancel at any time, and free US shipping. And because Tiege Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers, which is you, an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description or the pinned comment of this video and get 30% off your first box, 20% off for life, and a free gift. The free gift being either the Tiege Hanley shower scrubber or the Tiege Hanley nail grooming kit. That's over $40 worth of potential free gifts that all men need, especially minimalistic men. Click the link below and get started today. Now, like I said, self-care serves as the general threshold that determines whether you're a minimalist by choice or a minimalist by force. If you're no longer taking care of yourself, best believe that you are on a very slippery slope. Okay, because once you stop taking care of yourself, you stop taking care of your business. And I don't mean that in terms of an actual business. I mean, in general, in life, you stop being as diligent in the areas that actually matter. You start focusing on things that don't matter, and you start to find ways of escapism. This is why so many people fall into addiction and bad habits and other things that don't actually serve them. They know it doesn't serve them, but they feel like they don't have a choice because it's the only source of joy in their lives, because they don't believe that they get to choose. They don't believe that they have free will. But you do have free will. You have the free will, the freedom of choice to choose to take care of yourself by taking care of your skin, by taking care of your hair, by being mindful of the clothes that you wear, things of that nature. These things make a very big difference on your psychological perception of yourself. And the way that you perceive yourself determines the way that you perceive your life, and it determines your expectations of your external reality. When you change the way that you think about yourself, your behavior will naturally follow. Your behavior will always act in accordance with the way that you perceive yourself. And by extension, your life as a whole will reflect your thoughts. As within, so without. This is a quote that I've lived by since I was 19, and I will continue to live by that quote until the day that I am no longer on this earth. That being said, once you've determined what type of minimalist you are, how do you go about optimizing your life in such a way that allows you to be a minimalist by choice? What does it look like to be a minimalist by choice? Well, let me take you through that process. Okay, how do you be a minimalist in general? The answer is simple. As a matter of fact, there are 2 steps to this process. The first thing that you need to do to be a minimalist by choice is you need to remove everything that does not serve a purpose in your life. It's that simple. You need to remove everything that no longer serves a purpose. You see, minimalism is the removal of clutter. Clutter, by definition, is anything in your environment that does not serve a purpose. If you feel lost in life and you don't know which direction you want to go in, you don't have a sense of purpose, it's probably because the environment that you're in is full of things that lack purpose, and you are the output of that environment. You're allowing yourself to be influenced by the clutter in your life. You're choosing to keep things that remind you of how purposeless you feel on a day-to-day basis. Get rid of those things. Anything that does not serve a direct purpose in your life, get rid of it. Sentimental items, get rid of them. Okay, only keep the things that you would literally risk your life for. Everything that I own is over in this corner over here, which I will show you here in a second. I'll show you everything that I own, and it won't take very long either. But get rid of everything that only holds sentimental value, or if nothing else, leave all of that stuff with people that you trust. Put it in storage, do something with it, but don't keep it in your environment. The reason why I say this is because people tend to hold on to sentimental items because they're so pessimistic about the future that they prefer to live in the past. But living in the past is regression. I have progressed since December 2022. My mindset has changed. My body has changed. I have changed as a whole. I have made a lot of progress. I've grown and expanded. And that's only because I chose to stop living in the past. I got rid of everything that reminded me of who I used to be. And because of that, I was able to step into a new version of myself and become the version of myself that I needed to be in order to take control of my life and reverse my situation. Because best believe that I'm not broke anymore. Whether I'm rich or not, that's subjective. Okay, I can go to some countries and probably retire right now at 23. Actually, I'm about to turn 24 in less than, 12 hours? That's besides the point. I can go to some countries and retire right now. When this time last year, I was $27,000 in debt. I owed $3,500 to the IRS with only $1,500 or maybe $2,000 to my name. That's the situation I was in 1 year ago. Now, like I said, I'm in a great financial position. I am living in abundance, meaning that my income is much greater than my expenses and I have a lot of money left over. Enough money that I don't really need to make income right now, especially with how low my living expenses are. And that's one of the benefits of being a minimalist. But again, it's all about the choice. I choose to be a minimalist right now. I don't have to be a minimalist if I don't want to. I just want to. But going on a tangent here, the second thing that you need to do in order to be a minimalist by choice and turn your life around like I have is you need to keep everything that does have value. You remove everything that doesn't have value and you keep and actually add things that do have value. For example, the Tiege Hanley skincare system. That has a lot of value because when you take care of your skin, it sends a psychological message to yourself. You're saying that I am worth the effort. I am worth what I'm investing into this in order to be a better version of myself, be the version of myself that I need to be to live a better life. Or, for example, buy more books, buy courses. I recommend you get a Kindle. Okay, I've been buying so many books on the Kindle that I can't even keep up. I read every single day because that's something that I value. It adds value to my life. Only allow things into your life that add value. If they don't add value, remove them. It's as simple as that. If you want to be a minimalist by choice, if you want to have the freedom and the ability to choose to be a minimalist, you can. Just add things that have value, that add value to your life, and that convey to your mind, to your subconscious mind in particular, that you are valuable. When you surround yourself with things that lack purpose or that lack value, you become the output of that environment. But when you surround yourself with things that do have purpose and do have value, you become the output of that environment. Because I chose to surround myself with things that added value to my life, I became a more valuable person, literally, per my bank account. I became a more valuable person. Leverage minimalism in order to regain control of your life. You're not meant to live in poverty. You're not meant to live in destitution and lack and scarcity. You're meant to live in abundance, even if that abundance can fit in 3 bags. Okay, yes, everything that I own fits into those 3 bags. I know there's actually 4 bags in the picture, but not including the little grocery bag. Everything that I own fits into that suitcase, the duffel bag, and the backpack. That being said, let me show you everything that I own. So first of all, as far as clothing goes, I tend to dress very, very modestly. I do take care of myself. I try to dress somewhat fashionably, and I will be upgrading my wardrobe here in the near future, while also getting rid of some of the clothing that is maybe damaged or old or doesn't really fit this new aesthetic that I'm going for. That being said, I don't have a lot of clothing, and I don't plan to have a lot of clothing anytime in the future, no matter how much money I make. Again, it's a choice. It is not by force, it is a choice. But here is pretty much most of my clothing. You can see I have a few pairs of pants, a few jackets, I have a couple of t-shirts, one of which I'm wearing right now, and everything else is my girlfriend's. Okay, she is not a minimalist. And by the way, just a side note, just because you're a minimalist doesn't mean that the people around you have to be minimalists as well. It is a personal choice. Once again, real minimalists choose to be minimalists. They're not minimalists by force, and they don't force anybody else to be minimalists either. Nevertheless, I also have underwear and socks. I don't really think I need to show you that. But most of my technology I keep in here. So if I'm ever on the road, going anywhere, if I'm traveling, my laptop will be in here, my camera, I have my mics in here. I have my handheld mic. My other mic is on the camera. I also have an older camera right here, mostly for taking home videos and things of that nature, and taking some of the visuals for my poetry channel, which you can find in the featured channels section of my channel's homepage. I have charging cables and things of that nature. I have my hard drive. This is where I keep all of my tech. Okay, all of my tech is in this backpack right here. All of my clothing, generally whenever I'm traveling, goes in there. And it all fits in that suitcase. Half of the suitcase is clothing, the other half is either self-care items and excess technology stuff. For example, my ring light that you can see over there, I can fold it up and put it in this small box, which fits in there as well. And pretty much everything that takes up a lot of space goes in that suitcase. Okay, the suitcase is pretty large, but that's the main essence of my minimalist lifestyle, is that suitcase right there. I'm pretty much living out of that suitcase. This right here is my duffel bag. This is where I keep other stuff, my miscellaneous items like underwear, socks, things like that. when I'm traveling. Obviously right now my stuff is dispersed across this room, but everything that I own fits into those 3 bags. And everything that I don't own doesn't matter because I don't own it. I don't have it, and my life is much better because of that. But the point of this video is minimalism is a choice. If you're a minimalist because you can't afford to not be a minimalist, you're not a minimalist. You're just broke. And you know what? It's okay to be broke. I've been broke. Like I said, literally a year ago today, I had $27,000 in debt, including $3,500 that I owed to the IRS. Guess what? Once I acknowledged the fact that I was broke and that I needed to take drastic action by moving back in with my parents, selling the car that I was living in, selling everything associated with that, I was able to change my situation because I took accountability by acknowledging the fact that I was not in the position that I wanted to be in, and I stopped using minimalism as a coping mechanism for that truth. Now, whether or not you're ready or willing to come to that same conclusion is up to you. But at the very least, you now get the opportunity to make an informed decision.